looked at this project network and we had to do a forward scan and a back scan on it to find the minimum completion time and the critical path. Now, in this video, we're going to be looking at something that's, I think, a bit trickier for sure. I've seen in a few ATAR papers, and it's to do with you actually have a certain number of people on a project. So you might have only one person or two people or three people doing the project. Will this impact the minimum completion time? So in this video, we'll be looking at allocating people to a project. Now these have popped up in a few ATAR papers, so that's why I'm going to go through it. And I have to be honest, it had me scratching my head for a little bit, and I found a way that has helped me get through them. And we're going to start off by having a look at the same project and going from there. So the first situation is, we know that this job that's been shown is going to take 26 hours, right? We also know that the critical path is C, F, G, and K, which has been highlighted because all those nodes match up. Now, the thing is, we've never really asked the question, how many people are doing this job at once, right? So we're sort of assuming, most of the time we're actually assuming we have enough people to always be working, right? So I'll show you what I mean. At the very start, what jobs can we start off with right away? And sorry, that writing is terrible. There's no excuse for that. Just find it hard to write on these iPads. So we're assuming we have enough people working on the job. Now, I'll show you what I mean. Let's say we start at the start there. Now, optimally, what jobs can we do right away? We can do job A right away, job C right away, and job B right away. Now, a person only has a pair of hands, and how many jobs could you work on at once? It probably stands to realize you can only do one at a time. So job A may take you 10 hours. So you need 10 hours of work. So if you are just one person working on job A, then here's a problem, right? Then who's working on job C, right? So if you're only one person, then you know that the minimum completion time is going to be affected. So it's sort of hidden, but we're assuming we have enough people for all the jobs. Now, some of these ATAR questions, they're asking you, okay, what happens if you don't have that many? You don't have an infinite number of resources. You've only got, for instance, 3 people. Now, in this video, I'm going to look at 2 situations. What happens when you've got 3 people? And then what happens if you've got 2 people doing this job? Is it going to impact the minimum completion time? So my tips are this. First one, focus on the critical path. Okay? And I'm just going to make that a bit smaller. So focus on that critical path. The next person, so that's like person 1, okay? You allocate that to person 1. Then person 2 is helping finish the CP. That's person 2. That's my rule of thumb. Then person 3 mops up the rest. Okay. So let's go through this and I'll show you how it works. So we're going to assume person 1, person 2, and person 3. Now we're going to look at what each person's doing at every point in time until every single task has been finished, therefore the project is done. So person 1, what's he doing, or she? Focusing on that CP. Person 2 is helping with that CP, and person 3 is just mopping up. So doing all the activities that you could say have the most slack time, right? That's sort of what's happening there. So let's have a look at person 1 and see what jobs they can work on. So person 1, we can see activity, and we're going to allocate them to these jobs. So what job should person 1 do straight away? Well, C, he's working on the critical path. And then how long is that going to take? 0 to 3 hours, right? What about, then what's the next thing person 1 can do? Well, we can see that job F only requires job C to be done. Therefore, as soon as they finish job C, you can go straight into job F. That takes 8 hours. So at the end of the 3rd hour, you can go straight into the next job. So 3 to 11 hours in, and then job F is finished. You can see also that job G doesn't require anything but job F. Therefore, this person can go straight into job G. So that's going to be 11 to 18 hours, because job G takes 7 hours, right? Next, we can see that job K requires both D and G. So let's pause it there and let's see if we can help out that person by getting job D done. Now, this is person 2's responsibility, right? So here we go. Person 2, you draw a table, you go through your activities and your time. So they need to do job A and then job D. We can see that from the table there. So let's do job A first, and that's going to be 0 to 10 hours, and then job D, 10 to 15 hours. So we can see that this person has finished both A and D. Now, this person 1 can complete job K. And we can see that those critical activities haven't been affected at all. There's no gap there. So 18 to 26. The thing is, we haven't finished all the jobs. We've finished jobs A, D, C, F, G, and K. Right? Now we need to mop up the rest, right? So you've got to make sure that you can do the rest without affecting that minimum completion time. So what should the other person be doing? Let's focus on them first. We can see that the activities they could be doing, well, right away, they should be doing job B, because that's the other one they should do straight away. But there's a lot of slack time in job B, so we should be all right. 0 to 6. Next, another activity we can do, well, we can see that job E can get done now. So we can do job E, and that's 6 to 11. And what else? Could do job I as well. So we can see that this person is only 13 hours into the job and has finished E and I, right? And we can also see that they're 13 hours in. The other person, person 2, is 15 hours in. So they still have a bit more time. What else could they do? They could do job H if they wanted, or they could do job I. Oh, sorry. I think that bottom one's going to be a J, I guess. I've got 2 job I's. Maybe it's going to be a job. Let's change that to, what's the next letter? J, K, L, I guess. So maybe this person wants to do job L. And L is going to take 4 hours, 13 to 17. Okay. Now, with job L complete, we can see that person 2 is caught up, and we can still see that this other person, that's taken person 1 26 hours, so they've got no time left. So let's go back to person 2. What could person 2 do? Person 2 could do job, what's been done so far? Well, job B's been done. Job E, job I, job L. I guess could do job H. Just takes 1 hour. And what else is left? Job J as well. So that takes 1 hour as well. So we can see that without partial sharements of jobs, basically, as in you can't have, one person sharing the load of one job. Person 1 is finished in 26 hours. Person 2 and 3, they both took 17 hours. They don't really have that much. They had a fair bit of spare time there. Now, we can probably see that if we only had 2 people, this is going to be a lot different, okay, we can see that it actually may impact our job, because if person 2 and 3 are taking 17 hours, it stands to reason that we may be exceeding that if there's only one person, helping person 1. So that's the situation you'll look at now. Okay, now I'm going to switch this to, we can go blue now, and over here I'm going to go person 1 and person 2. Okay, so here we go. Now, person 1, straight away, what's their first job for person 1? Cleaning up that critical path. So they're going to do exactly the same thing. Okay, they can do job C straight away, 0 to 3. Then they can do job F right away, 3 to 11. Then they can do job G right away as well, 11 to 18. So this is identical to the other person. Now I'm going to tick these off in orange as I go. Okay, so we can tick, tick, tick. Now we can see that the other person has to be helping out with that critical path, because we know the critical path is key to being done. And if we delay the critical path, then we're going to affect our minimum completion time. Therefore, we need person 2 to help with that. So person 2, the first activity they'll have to do, like before, is A for 10 hours, and then job D for 5 hours. Okay. Now we can see that person 1 can now finish off job K, 18 to 26, and then that's the critical path done, right? Now let's zoom across a little bit here so we can see that. Now person 2 has to mop up the rest, okay? So what jobs do we have left? Well, I'm going to tick off A and D, and I'm just going to circle the ones that we have left. Job J, H, L, E, I, and B. So what job do you think you should do next? Well, there's no person 3 to start off job B right away. Probably stands to reason we should probably do job B, right? So let's do job B. Now job B takes 6 hours. Next, what can this person do? Job E comes straight out of B, and that takes 5 hours. I've found that there's actually a better solution. So we've got person 1, 26 hours in, and person 2, 26 hours in. Now we've got 4 jobs left to be completed, job J, H, I, and L. And let's add up those total times required for those jobs. We can see job L will take 4 hours to complete, and job J, H, and I will all take 4 hours as well, cumulatively. So if we want to allocate our resources as best as we can, and people can't share jobs, it stands to reason that we should assign person 1 or person 2 to one does L and the other does J, H, and I. So I'm going to make person 1 just do L. Okay, so I'm going to change that to green. Now L brings that from 26 to 30, like that. And now we've done job L. Now we've got I, H, and J. Now I has to be done before J. So let's complete that. I, 2 hours, so 26 to 28. Then H, 28 to 29. And then J, 29 to 30. Now we can see that we've allocated our resources as best we can. Person 1 takes 30 hours to complete the job, and person 2 also takes 30 hours. Therefore, the minimum completion time with 2 people is 30 hours, not 26. So there's been an increase to the project time of 4 hours. So there we go. That's how we can sort out these kinds of problems. I find that the schedules of the making an itinerary like this is probably one of the best ways I've found of tackling these, and I don't think they're that straightforward. And yeah, I mean, this is a way of doing it, and if you're systematic, I think you can get through it. I hope this video helped you, and yeah, thank you.